Donovan Mitchell has been traded to the Cavaliers, and by far the biggest and most surprising trade of the offseason. In just 5 seasons, he's quickly ascended to becoming one of the league's elite guards, averaging 26 points a game. At 25 years old, you've got to be excited about what this group of him, Garland, Mobley, and Allen can do. But it didn't always look like Mitchell was going to be this bona fide star, so today, I want to go back to that 2017 draft and see what happened to every player that teams decided to draft before him. Coming out of high school, he was the 43rd recruit in the country, but he wasn't getting talked about too much for the draft. He signed on to go to Louisville, and as a freshman, it wasn't great. He averaged 7 points, shooting just 25% from 3, starting in only 5 games. As a sophomore, we saw a huge change in his role, where he was now averaging 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, so he decided to declare for the draft. People were split on him as a prospect, and it made sense. He was pretty undersized for the shooting guard position at 6'3", and scouts weren't sure he could play the point. Luckily for him, the size concerns couldn't go too far due to his 7-foot wingspan and what he projected to be as a defender. Now, what is safe to say is no one expected him to have the immediate success he did. The draw was his wingspan, crazy athleticism, and comfortability with the ball in his hands. There's no question he was looked at as a raw prospect. On draft night, it wasn't a surprise to see him drafted where he did. The Denver Nuggets selected him with the 13th pick, but shortly after, traded him to the Utah Jazz for Tyler Lydon and Trey Lyles, a decision that's going to go down as one of the biggest what-ifs in league history. Imagine Mitchell, Jokic, Jamal Murray, and MPJ. Insane. To make it even worse, it was clear the Nuggets were trying to find a power forward here, landing 2 in this deal, but shortly after would land Paul Millsap in free agency. But getting back to the draft, the first player taken ahead of him was actually Luca Canard, selected by the Detroit Pistons. While to some this might seem laughable, we need to remember who these players were in 2017. Well, Luca Canard didn't blow a single person away with his athleticism. He was coming off one of the most productive seasons in college basketball that year. The Duke sophomore, left-handed shooting guard, averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, shooting 44% from 3. Canard's career so far in the league has had his ups and downs, but it's only been solid. By his 3rd season, he was averaging 16 points as a 40% three-point shooter. Now he's coming off a year with the Clippers, averaging 12 points, leading the league in three-point percentage at 45%. I truly think he's an underrated piece of this team that projects to be a top contender to win it all next season. The next player was the 11th overall pick to the Hornets, Malik Monk. He's interesting to compare to Mitchell, as they were both undersized shooting guards with high-flying athleticism. The difference that really separated the two coming into this draft was production. It's hard to argue with what Monk did as a freshman in his lone season at Kentucky. He was must-see TV, averaging 20 points, shooting 40% from 3 on 7 attempts a game. He became a household name after dropping 47 points on North Carolina's head, knocking down 10 threes. Now, his NBA career got concerning rather quickly. We knew the defense was going to be a problem. In fact, we knew just about everything that didn't involve scoring the ball was going to be a problem. So when he was out there averaging just 7 points on terrible efficiency as a rookie, it wasn't looking great. It didn't get better in his 2nd season, barely better in his 3rd season. All signs pointed to him being a bust, but in his 4th season in Charlotte, he went up to 12 points, shooting 40% from 3. Things were trending up. As a part of the Lakers this past year, he was one of their few bright spots. He averaged 14 points on the best efficiency of his career. Now he's teamed back up with Fox and the Kings, and I'm excited to see what's in store. I really think he has the chance to be one of the better 6 men in the league. Zach Collins would come off the board with the 10th pick. He was selected by the Kings and traded to the Blazers. Now, I never really understood the praise for him. He had a small role in his 1 season at Gonzaga. He averaged 10 points and 2 blocks a game. The draw seemed to be his defense, but the upside just didn't seem to be there, really even the floor. So far, there really just hasn't been much to talk about in his NBA career. He averaged around 5 points and 4 rebounds through his first 2 seasons. He then suffered an ankle injury that caused him to miss most of his 3rd year, all of his 4th season, and then this year played just 28 games, now with the Spurs, averaging 8 points and 6 rebounds. A solid career might still be in store, but I definitely don't envision him ever living up to the expectations associated with a top 10 pick in the draft. With the 9th overall pick, we saw the Dallas Mavericks go with NC State point guard Dennis Smith Jr. Man, I forgot how loaded this draft was with exciting, high-flying guards. It was hard not to love Smith coming into the draft. The 6'3" guard had one of the most well-rounded offensive games in the draft. During his lone college season, he averaged 18 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds, shooting with respectable efficiency. There was a lot of excitement surrounding the Mavericks selection to get him, and after a really impressive summer league, I think that excitement only grew. Now, while he had some impressive flashes during his rookie season, he really struggled with any kind of consistency. He averaged 15 points, but shot less than 40% from the field. Leading up to his 2nd season, the Mavericks would end up landing none other than Luca Doncic. Initially, people thought it could work, but it became pretty clear almost immediately the Mavericks needed to do all they can to put the ball in Luca's hands as much as possible. So when the opportunity came up to trade for Kristaps Porzingis, he was sent to the New York Knicks. Smith only spent one combined season in New York, still struggling to raise his efficiency. Since then, he's been on the Pistons and Blazers, really not impressing in a rather small role. Currently, he's yet to land a new deal. The 8th overall pick in the draft belonged to the New York Knicks, who decided to grab French prospect Frank Nilikina. Standing at 6'4" with a 7'1" wingspan, he was looked at as a project player with guaranteed defense. While the defense has always been solid, we know even the project players at some point have to show us something offensively. That's never happened with Nilikina. As a rookie, he averaged 6 points, shooting 36% from the field. It somehow got worse the following season. He's now coming off his 5th season in the league with the Dallas Mavericks, and he's never eclipsed 40% from the field for an entire season once. It's not looking like his time in the league will be too much longer, barring some crazy jump out of nowhere. The 7th overall pick belonged to the Timberwolves, who selected Lauri Markkanen, then traded him to the Bulls in the Jimmy Butler trade. It was clear why scouts like Markkanen. He was 7 feet, and during his freshman season at Arizona, managed to average 16 points and 7 rebounds as a 42% three-point shooter. Now, since getting to the league, Markkanen's been really solid, nothing more, nothing less. He's averaged 15 points a game, shooting 36% from 3. While early on in his career in Chicago, it looked like he might have a chance to really break out into a 20+ a game scorer, minor injuries have really held that back. This past year, he signed with the Cavaliers, but in the most recent Donovan Mitchell trade, coming full circle here, he was sent to the Utah Jazz. The 6th overall pick by the Magic was Jonathan Isaac. Isaac was truly a special prospect. He had a crazy frame, standing at 6'10" with a 7-foot wingspan. As a freshman at Florida State, he dominated on both ends, averaging 12 points and 8 rebounds, an overall block and a steal a game. He showed off some impressive ball in the hands ability. I love the value at 6, and I really think that would still be the case if it wasn't for injuries. He dealt with injury as a rookie, playing just 27 games. In his second season, it was solid offensively. He averaged 10 points, but it was super impressive defensively. His versatility combined with his rim projection made it clear he was on pace to become one of the most feared defenders in the league. Then his third season, we started to see the improvement as a scorer, going to 12 points on much better efficiency across the board. It really seemed like a two-way star was in the making, but then he tore his ACL and meniscus. Injuries that typically set a player back for a season, but it's now been over 2 years and over 200 regular season games missed. It's looking like he should be ready for this upcoming season, so I just really hope he can pick up where he left off. We're hearing all this hype surrounding Wagner and Paolo Banchero, but let's not forget about Jonathan Isaac. The 5th overall pick by the Sacramento Kings was lightning fast point guard out of Kentucky, De'Aaron Fox. Fox was an interesting prospect, as not only was he super productive in college, averaging 17 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds, but his speed, especially with the ball in his hands, we had arguably never seen before. Since getting to the league, that speed has been on full display, and Fox has quickly become one of the better point guards in the league, but there has been something really holding him back, and that's his production beyond the perimeter. He averaged 23, 6, and 4 this past season, but shot less than 30% from 3. Hopefully, the shooting can come sooner rather than later. The 4th overall pick belonged to the Suns, and the sentiment at the time was that the decision was made for them based on who was on the board, and that was Josh Jackson. Almost every year, we have a prospect like him, a top prospect in high school, 6'7", with a 7-foot+ wingspan that's hyper athletic and projects to be an elite defender. It truly feels like every season someone gets that Kawhi Leonard comparison, and in 2017, that was Jackson. Now, it wasn't like his production was unimpressive either. He averaged 16 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, over a steal and a block, while shooting 51% from the field and 38% from 3. He was a legit top prospect. Things just didn't work out at the NBA level. He averaged around 12 points in his first couple seasons, but on terrible efficiency. He then spent the next couple years with the Grizzlies and Pistons, where it didn't get all that much better. Then last season, he was traded to the Kings, where in 12 games, he averaged just 4 points, shooting less than 35% from the field. Now he's with the Raptors, and I don't think anyone's expecting him to do anything notable. The 3rd overall pick belonged to the Celtics after trading down from the number 1 selection. Here they ended up going with Jason Tatum. There was really nothing to not like about Tatum as a prospect. This 6'8" wing was coming off a freshman year at Duke, where he averaged 17 points and 7 rebounds on solid efficiency. He had a super well-rounded scoring game, on and off the ball, back to the basket, getting to the line. He really had it all, but it's safe to say he's exceeded most every expectation since getting to the NBA. He's improved every single season to the point where he's now a fringe top 10 player in the league, coming off a season where he led the Celtics to the finals, averaging 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists, while being a solid defender, something that was probably his biggest knock coming into the draft. The 2nd overall pick by the Lakers was none other than Lonzo Ball. The hype for Lonzo I had never seen before. It was definitely helped by all the antics involving his family, such as his father LeVar, but even the hype surrounding him just as a prospect was insane. There was a time when people were calling him Steph Curry with a 40-inch vertical. As a freshman at UCLA, he averaged 15 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds, shooting 55% from the field and 41% from 3. Considering he was legitimately one of the best playmaking prospects we'd ever seen, putting up that kind of efficiency at a 6'6" point guard frame, I think it's obvious to see why he was able to go this high in the draft. Lonzo's career started off pretty bad. He averaged 10 points through his first 2 seasons, really struggling with his efficiency. Since then, though, it's been a different story. He's coming off a year with the Bulls where he averaged 13, 5, and 5, shooting 42% from 3 on over 7 attempts a game. He's an elite defender, elite playmaker, and one of the better shooters in the league right now. It doesn't really seem like the volume will ever come, but he's got a great career in store. He just needs to stay healthy, which has been his biggest struggle as of recently. Lastly, we've got the #1 overall pick in the draft by the 76ers, Markelle Fultz, a player that's going to go down as one of the biggest mysteries in NBA history. He's one of the better prospects we've ever seen. 6'4", 6'9" wingspan, great athlete that at Washington averaged 23 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds, shooting 41% from 3. He could score at all 3 levels, play defense. There really just didn't seem to be a flaw in his game, which is why the 76ers decided to trade up in the draft. After seeing Ben Simmons and Embiid on the court, it was ready for the process to be over, and it looked like Fultz was going to be that missing piece. Things looked good in the Summer League. Then all of a sudden, we got these reports that he had some shoulder injury doctors couldn't pinpoint that caused him to completely lose anything that resembles a jump shot. Through his first 2 seasons in Philly, he averaged 8 points, never able to get that jump shot back. He was then traded to the Magic for a bag of chips. In his first year there, it was solid. He averaged 12 and 5, still no jump shot, but things were looking up. Sadly, over the last 2 seasons, he's played just 26 games due to injury, so it's hard to say what's in store for his future. But that's the video, guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.